May's world was one of clean lines and sharp angles. In her Guangzhou apartment, miniature buildings rose in perfect, sterile forests of plastic and card. She was a promising architecture student, but her sketchbook was a desert of white. The wellspring of her creativity had run dry. Desperate for a change, she saw a call online. A community mural project in Berlin's Kreuzberg, a neighborhood caught between its gritty past and a polished future. On impulse, she booked a flight. Berlin was a beautiful chaos that swallowed her whole. The streets of Kreuzberg were a symphony of clashing notes. Turkish markets spilled onto pavements next to chic art galleries, and the scent of spray paint mingled with expensive coffee. May felt like a ghost, her sketchbook a flimsy shield against the vibrant, overwhelming life of the neighborhood. She found the designated wall, a vast, scarred brick canvas on the side of an old tenement building. A man with paint-splattered hands and a laugh that echoed down the street introduced himself as Axel, the project leader. "Welcome, grab a brush, find a spot," he boomed, gesturing to a small, diverse group of artists. May, however, froze. The wall was a blank page magnified 1,000 times, and her creative paralysis was just as immense. She gave a tight nod and retreated to the edge of the pavement, an observer, not a participant. For days, she just watched. Then, an old man with a gentle stoop and eyes that held the neighborhood's history sat on the bench beside her. "My grandfather laid these bricks," he said, his voice a soft rumble. He introduced himself as Klaus and pointed to a window on the 3rd floor. "That was my childhood home. I can still smell my mother's Apfelkuchen." Klaus's stories were a key, unlocking the building's soul. Soon, other longtime residents joined him, their memories layering like coats of paint. They spoke of street parties under paper lanterns, of whispered secrets in the shared courtyard, of the scent of lilac from a garden long since paved over. Forgetting her fear, May began to sketch, not buildings, but faces etched with time and hands that had built a community. That evening, May shyly showed her sketchbook to Axel. His eyes widened. "This," he said, tapping a portrait of Klaus. "This is the heart of it. Not just a pretty picture, but a story." He handed her a wide brush. "The wall is waiting for you." Finding her courage, May approached the brick canvas. She began to paint Klaus's memories. A child reaching for an apple pie on a windowsill, ghostly figures dancing in the courtyard. The creative block shattered. May worked with a feverish energy, her brushstrokes no longer hesitant but bold and full of life. She learned that true art wasn't a solitary act of genius, but a conversation. The mural grew into a vibrant tapestry of shared history, woven by artists and residents alike. People would stop on their way to the market, point and say, "I remember her," or "That was my father's shop." The harmony was broken by the stark white of an official notice pasted on the door. The building had been sold. It was to be demolished in 1 month to make way for luxury condominiums. A cold silence fell over the street. The mural, their collective soul made visible, was condemned. The developers saw a decaying property. They were blind to the library of memories it held. Despair settled on the community. But May, who had arrived in Berlin a silent observer, found she now had a voice. "They can't just erase it," she declared at an impromptu gathering. "This wall is not empty. It's full of your lives." Fueled by a passion she didn't know she possessed, she organized the residents and artists. Her architectural skills now used to design not buildings, but a campaign of creative resistance. Their fight became a citywide story. Art students held paint-ins, journalists wrote articles, and petitions circulated. The developers, faced with a public relations nightmare, finally relented. The building was granted heritage status, the mural preserved. Standing before the finished work, May looked at Klaus and Axel. She had come to Berlin to find her inspiration, and she had found it not on a blank page, but in the heart of a community, learning that the most beautiful structures are not made of glass and steel, but of shared memory.